Oh boy. There it is. Hey everybody. How's it going? It's your old pal SPJ here. Welcome back to SPJ Live. Hope you guys have had a good week doing whatever you've been doing. Everybody's staying well, everybody's staying healthy. Got a good group of people watching right now. Music Therapy Laz in the house. How you doing, buddy? Terry's 3Gs is here, as well as JJ's House of Jams. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you all here. And if you're watching live right now and just lurking, please let us know where you're watching from. Nobody in the chat's gonna bite, and I'm not gonna bite either. So let's have some fun. Let's have a good time, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys a little bit today. Thomas York has joined us. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you here. It is what has been going on since the last time we got together, and of course, moderator to the stars, my buddy and yours, Mr. Ben Coombs. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Oh boy, what has been going on since we last spoke to each other? It's been a really interesting last couple of weeks. I spent another week playing at church, so I had all these different songs that I had to play. Luckily, they were all songs that I had played before and didn't have to really do any sort of in-depth learning of. I didn't have to learn things from scratch. I already had a good idea of how the songs were going to go. So what it actually ended up doing for me is it allowed me the ability to just sort of perfect the parts that I had already come up with for the songs previously, try them in a new context, and then maybe see if there were ways that I could make them better, as it were. Whether I stuck with the original intent of what I was playing or whether I came up with a new part entirely, that was kind of how things were situated there. Other than that, I spent the early part of this week, excuse me while I take a sip. Oh, that's good stuff. David Lynch signature cup house decaf by Allegro Coffee, if anybody's wondering. Wow, what the hell, man? Come on. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that one. I spent the early part of this week kind of piecing together some of the new videos that are coming up on the channel. I brought back Stompbox SmackDown for a reason, and that is going to be continuing. I'm sure you guys probably guessed by now that the demo work is kind of slow on the uptake at the beginning of this year. Around this time last year, I was really inundated with emails and things to really get things going. And obviously, with the pandemic still going on and people still kind of not really sure what they're going to be doing to handle it, I've kind of had to make my own work. And hopefully, we'll be getting some more stuff in sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, and this kind of connects to what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight on the show, it's allowed me the ability to just really, enjoy the video making process. It's allowed me to delve into things that I enjoy. It's allowed me to explore some newer ideas that hopefully you guys watching right now and those of you that come along onto the channel later will enjoy just as much, if not more so, than the normal stuff that I've done previously. Mark Shields has joined us. How you doing, Mark? He has a good observation that there isn't much new gear this year. And that's true. I will say, though, I feel like the guitar companies are doing okay on the new gear front. Obviously, we had the new Walrus Audio stuff. I'm still waiting on my replacement AC1S. For those of you who don't know, I had to send it back. They discovered that there was an issue with the hardware in the pre-production units, that if you're using a guitar that has high output pickups, or you clip the front end, it would cause pops and clicks in the digital componentry. So I had to send it back because the recordings I had done for the video of it did indeed have those artifacts. And that's not something you want to listen to. So I look forward to having that back again. Look at who we got here. It's Perfecto de Castro. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. Hope you and the family are doing well. So yeah, that's been kind of one of the things that I've been leaning into. Other than that, it's just been kind of business as usual, trying to get things going, trying to do some new things, test some new things out. We are streaming live tonight, not only to the YouTube channel, but also to the Facebook page for the second time now. I feel like maybe that's going to be a good thing for us to continue doing, so that, a little bit more activity goes over onto the Facebook page. And of course, keeping YouTube here as well, because we've already established that this show happens on YouTube. Yeah. But I've learned a lot of things, and I want to share some of them with you. But I've also been, if you guys have paid attention to the community tab on the channel, I've been learning some stuff about you guys too. And I want to, tell you guys why I've been asking these questions. I want to kind of give you an idea of where I'm coming from, where I anticipate us going, and we'll move on from there. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. StreamYard looks slick. I basically have my, normal camera that I use for shooting video hooked up to my computer via an HDMI USB converter. Wife got it for me for Christmas. I finally figured out really what is the issue with the audio that we've been having, where it's like some weeks StreamYard will have my guitar audio, and then some weeks it won't. Weirdly enough, it looks like StreamYard on my recording interface is only recognizing the first two inputs on my interface, which is just incredibly strange. I've never had that happen before. When I used to stream through this is what happens when you probably have solderless cables. I should really probably get rid of them. But anyway, it's like it's only recognizing the first couple inputs of my interface, and my interface has 8 analog inputs. I don't know what's going on there. There's nothing that I can really do on StreamYard to change that. So that's been really, really strange. But hey, I figured it out, and you should at least be able to hear, something. So, Oh, interesting. Perfecto says that's usually the case for Mac versions of these streaming softwares. Well, that sucks because there is no chance in hell or any reality or, afterlife scenario where I'm going to be using a PC. I mean, maybe the PCs in heaven work, but down here on Earth, buddy, they don't work. It's either that or all the inputs are summed up into 2 channels. That could very well be. It could very well be. One of these days, I should handle all of this with more than just a couple hours to prepare. SPJ Live, now with StrangeYard. But actually, right now, I'm actually playing through my church board, which I did actually make a few changes to and are kind of fun. Let's see. I'm a geek. I've worked for Apple. I'll stick with my PC. You do you, though. Well, hey, if your PC works for you, but every PC I've had within a year, it tanks. So I'm sick of buying new computers every 3 years, and I've had the let's see. I've had the computer that I'm using for my studio right now for over a decade, and I've only had to take it in to get repaired one time. And it was just for the graphics card went out. So that was kind of a crappy thing, but it's been so worth it. It's made its money back for me. But I actually did make a few changes to this board over the course of the last month. I used to have a Walrus Audio Juliana for my chorus on there. And in one of the last times that I played, we were playing a song that I knew I would absolutely need some sort of chorus on. When I played it with the Juliana, it sounded good, but it just didn't fit the song, really. It didn't fit the vibe that I was going for. So I switched it out for the Boss DC2W, the Dimension C Wazacraft pedal. And that is kind of sounds like this. Let me take off this dirt box. And I have it on the standard mode, and I have buttons 1 and 4 pushed in. So it's kind of the 2 speeds kind of fighting against each other, the polar opposites. And it's running in mono, which I hadn't actually done before. Most of the times whenever I've used the Dimension C, I've run it in stereo because really just whenever I just, played it in stereo, it was just kind of like this mind-blowing and, life-changing experience in a way. So you running it in mono, I was just really astounded that it worked as well as it did for what I needed for that particular song. And it's just stayed on there because we've played that song a couple times. I changed out a couple other things too. The Rev G4 pedal, I took that off because, spoiler alert, it's coming up on a SmackDown. I swapped that out for the Walrus Audio Ages as sort of my like top tier gain pedal. So it basically goes, you know, clean tone. Then you can boost it. Damn, these cables have got to go. A little boost from the G2. Then I have JHS Bonsai. You know, little crunchy, and then Ages. So it's a little bit it's a different character. It's not this like raucous high gain sound, which I've used in the past, but I wanted to go for something that was a little bit more organic, not so like in your face kind of high gain. And it's working really well in that respect. And then I just decided to slap on the Mako R1 reverb because how could you not want an auto swell reverb all the time? And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been cool to, you know, that still within this context of having to be very, very consistent with things, that I still have this opportunity to explore. I still have this opportunity to experiment, and I'm enjoying it. It's very outside the comfort zone kind of thing, personally. Uh, oh, it's good to know that some people don't have issues with PCs. I have a ton of them. Mark saying the first time you go true stereo, it's hard to go back. I'll always go back. I mean, I love stereo is fun. Stereo is very cool, but at the same time, I have no time to deal with all that in the live context and even in the studio context. I'll just record it dry and then bust it out to something stereo in the DAW. Me and stereo, we have a very interesting relationship. I'll just put it that way. Matt Cisterna's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Janice Lala has also joined in. Hi, Janice. How you doing? Great to see you. It's not appropriate to walk into church sounding like your favorite metal band. Yeah, yes, exactly. I'm not really, and the thing is with the Rev, I wasn't necessarily sounding like, you know, a metal band, but you know, I found that for the songs that we were playing this last week, the tones that I was getting from the Rev just didn't really line up with the overall vibe of it. And so I basically just kind of let my ears do the walking, as it were. I have used it recently though, where a certain part called for a very like fluid, high gain kind of sound. So that, you know, it was all there for it, and I enjoyed it immensely. Well, we got a good group of people watching right now. If you're just joining in, welcome. If you are just lurking in the chat. If you're just lurking in the chat, don't be afraid. Nobody bites. At least I don't think so. If anybody does bite, they will be properly reported. Oh boy. Let's hey, look at who we got here. It's Mr. Charlie Cooper from Orange Amplifiers. How you doing, buddy? Great to see you. Hope you and the family are doing well right now. Been thinking about you guys. Let me switch it up a little bit here. Just because I can. This is actually 90% of the time. This is what I'm using when I play at church, is the navigator. It just works, you know. Let's see. Mark says, if I was tasked for that kind of thing, I'd use Lincoln Brewster's guide. Go for that super sweet singing overdrive sound. Yeah, I've been actually, with my new contacts at Fender, we're working on this Year of the Strat exploration project, and I was wondering if it would be a good idea to explore the Lincoln Brewster Strat, just because it seems to be one that kind of came out of nowhere, and obviously now working, in the church world, it's okay, but it's still one of those ones that just is like, huh, interesting. Okay, it's a Strat with some boost stuff in it. This could be fun. We'll see how it goes. Sassy Cat joining in. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Ah, good, Charlie. Glad you're doing all right. Staying at your girlfriend's place in Norway. Stay out of London as much as possible. Oh boy, yeah. I have heard stories, but I will just leave it at that. I have heard stories, but it's kind of hard, to not like this sound. Let me see 1 second. And drop D. And then I actually, oh, come on. Cables, man. I guess I'm really going to have to redo this pedal board. Oh, dear. As if I really wanted to have to redo a pedal board now. Let's see. Play time after time with that tone? I know I could. Give me a second. Plug that back in. You know what? There we go. And then I forgot how to play the chorus, but the basic. It's so good. It really is so good. It's hard to not want to play that with this sound. There you go. Let's see. Oh, that's really nice, Sassy Cat. Charlie's Sassy Cat's got something nice to say about your dad. Saw one of your dad's interviews a couple years ago. He was thoroughly engaging. It was sad when the interview was over. He had so many great stories. Yeah, I got the chance to sit down with good old Cliff at NAMM a couple years ago, and he was I think it was actually my wife that said this, or maybe my mom may have said it. Like, he was just picture perfect English gentleman. And I think that I'm pretty sure it was my mom who said that, actually. She thoroughly enjoyed that. And I did too. It's really nice to be able to, sit down with him. He's got a lot of stories. And as Charlie can attest, when I worked on the Orange Book with him, the book was twice the size. There's a ton of stories he has about the music biz. Indeed, he does. He's been around a while, so it's good that he has some stories. McCartney Strawberry Fields, how you doing? I'm in open D tuning on most of my guitars, and I'm trying to play some stuff with the capo. Well, hey, there you go. Does anyone know about the open D tuning using a capo? Well, open D tuning using a capo. I mean, you put a capo on an open tuning and it's just going to move that around. Say you're in open D, you move it up to the third string, it's going to be, let's see, it's going to be open F at that point. G, A, B. So it's really going, you basically are going to be able to play all your open D licks with that capoed. Just now you're in a different key. I haven't messed around with open D tuning in a while. Mostly just because I don't really write music in open tunings. But if you're using a capo, you're basically just moving your nut up and around the fretboard. So I have done it in the past where it's like, the open tuning just sounds good and feels good. But at the same time, it's like if I play it in, say, I have one little piece I wrote many years ago. I think it was in Dad Gad. And when I played it, let's see, was it in Dad Gad? May have been. Yeah, it was in Dad Gad. So I wrote the piece in Dad Gad, and when I played it in its normal position, the sound was just too dark. I wanted it to be a little bit more spry. So I basically just sat there with a capo, moving it in successive half steps up the neck until I basically just landed with it in the G position. And so it was essentially open, let's see, if we were in D, it'd be open F at that point. And it just had like I could still play it as I composed the piece, but the key was different. So that was something that I was able to do. It's not very hard. Capo actually makes things a lot easier. It just gives you a really nice solid place to be able to say you want to play in the key of A, but you want that sort of bar chord sound to be like your open E, as opposed to, that is a very different kind of sound than this is a nice way to kind of help yourself out. Well, that was fun. The only time I've used open tunings was when a band I was in was covering Black Crowes. Yes, that's a very popular open tuning song. All right, so I want to just kind of give you guys a little insight into some things that I've been doing, and this is kind of our topic for the show tonight. I'm learning so much, and I really am learning a lot because there are so many different things going on right now. There's so many different ways to do certain things, but also realizing that things that you've done previously are just fine and you don't need to change things. For those of you who don't follow on Instagram, please do, either at Sean Pierce Johnson if you want the more personal, less guitar centric all the time feed. But if you want guitar centric all the time, go for at Stompbox Saturday. But basically, I have been, over the course of 2020, I spent a lot of time zoning in on what it was about this thing that I do, being YouTube, that actually I enjoy. I think a lot of guys who start YouTube channels, and girls for that matter, I should say, I mean that in the royal sense, human beings, we kind of get into this sense that people that do YouTube are they're always on. And there's been a lot of chatter about creativity and mental health and the musician and everything, especially with, Matias Asato's recent announcement that he's taking a break. Well, what I decided to do over the course of 2020 was really hone in on what is it about this thing that I like. And I was able to boil it down to basically the people was what I really enjoyed. And since 2020, we didn't really get those opportunities to hang out with the people that we enjoy from the business. We were able to do it digitally like we're doing right now. uh, but we weren't able to do it in person. But I did get an opportunity to do that earlier in the year before everything kind of exploded and we weren't able to do anything anymore. And that idea of going to people's shops, going to people's places, and talking to them, being in their environment and being with them is something that once we're able to actually, I mean, I'm comfortable with just about anybody coming to visit right now. That's just me, you know. If you I will go out of my way to make you feel comfortable if you want to come visit. I don't have any problems. But a lot of people are not comfortable with people coming to visit. So, if when we get to the point where that comfort level rises and we're able to all generally accept that we can live and converse as we have always conversed, then I want to go back out on the road and do those things again. And then another thing that took me until this week really to find out about. I spent a lot of time in this room doing something that was very different than the standard Stompbox Saturday thing. I spent a lot of time tapping into parts of me, parts of my creative nature, where I don't really care what you guys think about me, quite frankly, to put it, in a certain way. I don't mind looking a little silly. I don't really need to be thought of as cool, quite frankly, anymore. Uh, in a way, kind of trying to get away the trappings of reputation because of things that I've seen other people, without naming names, other people do on this platform and what they'll do with their other social media platforms. It's just like I am much more happy making things that make me laugh because if they make me laugh, chances are they're going to make you laugh too. I guarantee that you're going to think that I look like an idiot in these Stompbox SmackDown videos with my slick back hair and my suit and my tie and overreacting to these things like it's the greatest thing that you'll be watching. I don't know exactly about PewDiePie. PewDiePie is just kind of annoying. I just don't ask me about video game YouTubers because I can't really stand video game YouTubers anyway. But my thing is, I figured out finally that towards the end of last year, I really started making and coming up with ideas and making videos that I think are the best that I've come up with since I started this channel. And I'm not doing that to, sort of toot my own horn, put myself up on a pedestal. I'm just saying this from the standpoint of I finally feel like I've reached a point where I got it. And I'm like really excited about that. The ironic thing about it is that ever since I came to that conclusion, towards the end of November, I have just anytime I go into work on one of these things, the shoots go well. Anytime I go into work on a video, editing it, the computer has no issues. I've put myself into this mindset where I'm learning so much about what my creative process looks like, what I want my content to look like. And I hate that word. I've decided I hate that word content because it's a blanket statement that to me kind of just makes me feel like it's a product. This isn't just necessarily a product, okay? I want to read Charlie's comment real quick. So, making content without thinking so much about what you think people will want rather than just doing you. I think that's actually a really astute observation on it because, and Charlie and we've worked together on marketing content for Orange stuff before, and I assume hopefully because Alex is no longer at Orange, that relationship's not going to end. I love you guys and your stuff too much. But I'll actually go to Charlie's company. I'll go to Orange Amplifiers right now because I realized where a lot of that started for me, this realization. It's because back when I did those videos for the Terror Stamp and the Bass Butler, one of the things that I enjoyed so much about those videos, one, getting to do a bass video, completely different than anything I do on the channel normally. But here's the thing. What I had so much fun doing was making those dang thumbnails for those videos. And if you guys haven't seen the thumbnails for the Bass Butler and the Terror Stamp, go look it up. I think they're some of the best thumbnails I've ever made. They made me laugh. They made me have more fun bringing that video out into the world than just like sitting there and filming it, editing it, making teasers and whatnot. Batman-y pie. Yes, exactly. Batman-y pie. And I will agree, Orange has the best product names. And, you know, the Bass Butler, I put a Batman cowl on myself and I pulled up a picture of the Batman animated series Alfred. And it was the two of us on there with the Bass Butler sitting next to us. And I did a little comic book speech bubble that said, "I'm Bassman." It just was so fun. And so starting with that and progressively, as Charlie is pointing out, I'm finally at this point where I'm doing me. And I think one of the, oh, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. Thomas likes the Hydra thumbnail. And that exactly right there is another example of that. Me putting things that I enjoy that make me laugh and little like free association things that are in my head. Cause it's like Hydra, water, wetness. Moisture is the essence of wetness. Reverb is the essence of wetness. That little, just allowing my mind to make those silly little connections. And I was able to come up with a thumbnail that Thomas really enjoyed. And that kind of got the ball rolling. And then as the year went on, and especially with the Strat demo that we just did recently, and the, by the way, Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit 200 video, go give that some views. Help me get that number up a little bit more. We're hovering in and around 200 views right now, and I'd really love to see that go up and up. But one of the things with that was because it was an amp, and I haven't done a whole lot of amp demos on the channel. Hopefully we can make that change this year. Hopefully. The thing that drove me nuts with that was I had no idea what I was going to do for it. Absolutely no idea. And so I finally hit on it because I had the amp for like 5 months before I got the chance to shoot something. It's like, hell, I've been able to actually use this in just about every situation that you could possibly want to use a guitar amplifier. So instead of like putting the amp on a pedestal, not like to say that it's this amazing amp, it's a great amp. You're hearing it tonight. But instead of putting it on this pedestal and turning knobs and trying to get every stupid little sound out of it that we can possibly get out of it, it's like, do you guys really want to sit there for over an hour as I twiddle knobs on things and hear like where the amp doesn't sound that great? Do you want me to go over every excruciating detail, or do you want to actually hear this thing sound good? Do you want to hear me play music? Do you want me to tell you how I've used it, how it's worked itself into my life, and use that as a stamp of approval? I finally, at that point, was like, no, I have things that I want to show with this amp, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to turn knobs willy-nilly at like we have no idea what a treble knob does. We all know what a treble knob does. So how about instead of doing that, let's just focus on the fact that this thing is a non-tube amplifier that sounds great already. So here's some sounds that show you the basic character of this amplifier. It's got an app that you can hook up to it and basically edit things on an iPad, save it to the iPad, and then recall it via Bluetooth on the amplifier. It's got a built-in cab sim that I use all the time to film demos in stereo, to go live to front a house when I play at church. Come on. What there's so many different things that we can show off without having to sit there and turn a bass knob to see how much bass does turning it up all the way give us. I don't really care, because honestly, for every sound that I like from that amp, the bass control kind of doesn't go above 1 o'clock. And even on some of them, I turn it down to 9. So, if I'm not going to make a sound that makes me play good, then this video is just not going to turn out good. And you're seeing me a little animated here right now, too, which is a little different. I found maybe sometimes my presentation on SPJ Live can be a little stale. That's just personally how I feel about it. And I just want you to know this is decaf coffee. And I'm not drinking till Easter. So, hey, all I'm saying is I've learned a lot about myself, and I kind of wanted to see if I could learn some things about you guys. So, what I want to kind of give you guys some insight on is, if you haven't paid attention to the community tab on the channel, I've put up a couple polls recently. Actually, gonna pull that up on my phone right now so that I can, remember exactly what I wrote. But I want to do these things because I want to actually know more about you guys, that some of you I've hung out with in person, others I have not. And so these are going to hopefully give me an opportunity to get to know you guys on a different level. You guys, you girls, you everybody's. Get to know all of you on a new, different level, so that maybe this year we can make some videos that will serve whatever you guys are looking for better than if I just contact company X, they send me X product, and I make a video about it. So the first one was a really revealing one that I was very happy to see. And it's just, hope you all are doing well. As I plan out how the year of videos is going to unfold, I'd like to know something about you all. How would you rate your abilities as a guitar player? And the majority of you consider yourself to be an intermediate guitar player, with 55% of the vote, followed by 33% at advanced, 10% at beginner, and 2% at pro. So that gives me a good idea of what kind of skill level you guys see yourselves at. I know for me, I'm at a professional stage because I've played gigs, I've done recording sessions, and I've done it in exchange for money. I make a living off of this. This is what I do as my job. It doesn't pay amazingly well, but it supports things. So furthering on that, it's like, okay, a lot of you guys are intermediate, but what makes you an intermediate? How do you see it? So I asked, what do you feel is holding you back? Now, the majority of you, with 30 people voting, and please, if you haven't voted on these polls yet, please do go vote on the polls. This is really going to be helpful for me to help you guys on the channel this year and in the future. I hope. 50% of you just have no idea what to practice. 27% of you have no time/desire to practice. And 10% say something else. And then you can detail that in the comments. And there are various other reasons. But the final two are, I play just fine, but I want to be more confident. And then I can play other songs, but want to write my own. So, there's quite a lot that I've been able to learn from you guys by you answering these polls. And I want to do a few more of them over the course of the next few weeks, because there are some new and fun ideas that I want to get up to this year. I kind of feel like, because of the lack of gear coming in at the early part of the year, we can maybe we'll see some piggyback on gear where there will be more towards the end of the year. And this beginning part of the year, we can spend some time on more conceptual videos, less on product specific videos, but videos geared towards things of, I have no idea what to practice. Well, What's something you want to practice? I want to get better at rhythm guitar. Do you practice to a metronome? No, only losers practice to a metronome. Guess what? Professional musicians practice and record and play to metronomes all the time. So if you want to actually get better, practice to a damn metronome. That one's free for you. Wait a second. All these videos are free. You don't have to pay for this. I'm going to go back to the comments real quick. Mark says, if you were standing in front of a band and the guitarist was using that as the core of their overdriven hard rock sound, you would never know it wasn't a rock reverb or something working hard. Yep, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. What? I hate that stuff. I set it up the way you'd use it and use it to play music because that's what I'm going to do. Yep. Terry says, I agree. Sometimes you have to keep to your channel, not some kind of business, unless it's a channel for your business. Exactly. Terry's at the rock star level. Okay. Hey, Ryan Hurley. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. When it comes to being average, I'm exceptional. Very nice. If I keep practicing, one day I'll be a hack. All right, then, as long as you know where you're at. I accompany myself on guitar. That's my category. All right. Let's see. Ben says, does my foot tapping count? I'm going to answer that with a question. Okay, you tap your foot, but have you also incorporated your foot tapping with practicing along with a metronome? Because I found as a kid and also at MI when I was there, we practiced a lot with metronomes, which was great. That's, kind of what they ingrained in us to do. But one of my first teachers was saying, like, dude, if you're not getting the groove and the beat in your body, then it isn't worth anything. So with that in mind, do you tap your foot along with practicing with a metronome? Because you do that with a metronome, you got that constant pulse, and you're tapping your foot, you're kind of starting to build up your internal clock. And what's really odd is that if you spend enough time with that, you will actually start to develop this internal clock that can be pretty dead on to what the metronome is counting. It's happened a couple times where I'll just be saying, like, hey, what is this tempo? Someone will ask, what's this tempo? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, okay, maybe like between 90 and 95, and it'll be roughly around there. And then we'll kind of take the metronome and ever so slightly make adjustments to it. So I answer with a question, and exactly like this, you have to train yourself, and it's the same. It's with your ear and it's your body, all these different things. Mark says, when I was in my formative years of learning to play, I never practiced, but I played about, quote, 10 hours a day for 3 years straight. Yep. I know exactly what you are talking about there. Because if you're just, spending all your time playing, it's like, okay, so you learned the Power Rangers theme song, but did you practice along with the record? Did you practice along with the metronome? Do you even know what you're doing? What are you doing there? Okay, well, it's in E. But what was this thing right here? This little, like, yeah, a couple more people have come in. Philip Bernice, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name, Bernice, and Grim Dixie. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you again. Philip asking, are you a fan of EVH amps? I am actually a fan of EVH amps. I wish I had an EVH amp, really have my eye on the 50-watt stealth right now, personally, of the 5150s. Hearing some grumblings that we might be seeing some sort of authentic reissue, as it were, of the James Brown designed 5150s. There's apparently been some trademark application leaks for a new amp, but that's what I've got on my eyes right now. Okay, Brenicy. Okay, I think I can get that right now. All right. Mm. And he's got the 50-watt EL34 head. That'd probably be the one that I should get, knowing that, most of my amps that I get along with are EL34 based usually. But I definitely been at this point of wanting to get some different sounds in. Of course, the main go-to is the Rockerver 100 from Orange, which is EL34 based. I think the only thing that's going to have to change with that is I'm going to probably need within the year or two to get the Mark III and get a new one. Because this is a Mark I that I have over here, and I think I might need to put some higher gain tubes in it. I got the tubes replaced about a year and a half ago, and it just doesn't have as much gain as it did with the stock tubes. I got the Hughes and Kettner Black Spirit 200, which you're hearing tonight. I have a Carvin V3 and the two Carvin preamp pedals, the X1 and the Legacy Drive. I worked for Carvin for about a year and a half, somewhere around there. So I got a lot of stuff there from them. But I do want to have some different kind of sounds and tones that I can call up. Oh, that's awesome, Philip, that you got to meet Carson. Carson is a nice guy. A very nice guy. I worked really close with his son, Joel, when I was there. Joel was kind of the, sort of my main boss that I worked under. But yeah, Carson's a really nice guy. It's a shame that Carvin isn't at the size that it used to be, because the gear is just woefully underrated, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see how things go for them. I still work with them on occasion, and happy to do it. But I do want to see them have a little bit of a resurgence. Grim Dixie asking, what do you think about the new Hughes and Kettner Amp Man pedal board amps? That's a really interesting question, because I don't know a whole lot about them. My contact at Hughes and Kettner was Richard Morgan, who you can currently find working over at Blue Guitar. And he was my contact, and he's the reason that I got a Black Spirit 200 in the studio. So thanks to Richard, wherever he is. Hopefully I'll be talking with him again soon. So I would love to be able to excuse me. I would love to be able to check them out, but when they announced them, there's very little video coverage out there on YouTube, and I don't know who took Richard's place at Hughes and Kettner in Germany. I know here in the States, they used to have an artist relations rep, but last year he got the axe, I think, and I'm not trying to step on anybody here. But after he left, I was basically dealing with Richard. Richard was arranging things from the US distributor of Hughes and Kettner to be sent to me. Since Richard's not there anymore, I don't really know how things are going. And unfortunately, the videos that I've seen haven't really, playing style wise, haven't really gone after the kind of style that I usually play in. Although I like modern music, I have a nice, very modern Ormsby 7 string. I I usually go for more modern amplifiers and modern tones and modern styles of music. A lot of the core sounds that I use are very rooted in like an old school style. When I started playing guitar, no 7 string guitars were for new metal. Nowadays, 7 string guitar is like the entry point for new generation of guitar players that can thump, which I have unsuccessfully tried to do. Maybe I'll spend some time with that, but who knows? I would love to hear more. I would love to play more. It certainly seems like a cool concept. I don't really know if that would have been my choice of thing to do, but I'm not using Kettner. And what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. So, you know, I'd love to see more though. JJ, I wanted to bring this up because you have the 6L6 EVH. Is yours one of the first ones, like the ivory or the black Tolex one? And I know he says I should jump on Helix, but I don't really know if I want to adopt the Helix just yet. That's just me. Sassy Cat saying, I'm really stoked about the Rivera Stage 4. It sounds like all the hit records of my youth. That's awesome. I actually did watch a little bit of that video with Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater on that amplifier, and it sounded really, really good. I would be very interested in checking that out, but I have no money to spend on amplifiers. Especially ones that I'm not necessarily sure if they're going to speak my language, so to speak. But it would be cool to check out. I'm always, you guys know, I'm up for working with just about anybody. I don't discriminate when it comes to gear. I discriminate when it comes to people being idiots, which has happened a few times over the course of the last year. But I'll work with anybody. Anybody who wants to send me stuff, I generally will entertain them and at least do one video. I'd love to do some work with Rivera. I think they make some really cool, very underrated amplifiers. I'm actually looking on Reverb right now at prices on some of the older, not older, like necessarily vintage, as it were, but like the knucklehead amps. Because I've heard some recordings of those recently, and they just sound like wow. That's a sound that I'd like to have in the studio. So looking for a good deal on those. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And then the Rock Crusher amps that can go direct. Those also sound really good. So thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that. I discriminate when people are idiots. Exactly. Terry saying the Neural DSP just released product sounds pretty awesome and very competitive. Other products is going against from what Glenn Fricker and others have shown. Yeah, the Quad Cortex. Yeah, I mean, I have unfortunately not had any experience with Neural DSP's software. Just that it's not that they're expensive. It's just that when you don't have money to spend, you don't have money to spend. So as good as some of these things are, if it's like a lot of things. Companies seem very keen to work with channels and personalities that have large followings, no matter whether or not that person or that presenter is right to demonstrate their product. A guy like Glenn with the quad cortex, that's right up his alley. And thankfully, Neural has been fairly selective with the people that they've sent that to. It has to be a very specific type of player in order for it to be presented in a certain light. So I've been interested in their stuff. I'm still interested in their stuff. And hey, anybody from Neural DSP watching, my email inbox is open. We can talk about whatever. You just hit me up. I'll be here. Uh I agree that I need to say more, and I'm much the same as you in that I like more classic style amps, not really into super high gain amps. But see, I'm into high gain amps, Grim. That's the thing. I like high gain amps. The Rocker Verb is a high gain amp. When I think back to NAMM last year, the Soldanos were really speaking my language. That's a high gain amp. Really been interested in the Rev stuff that I've been hearing with their most recent amplifier. The brand new and even going with the EVH stuff, like that's a lot of gain. So yeah, there you go. JJ, I had the original Ivory, traded for the one with the concentric. Okay, so you did the diode mod to it, which was an improvement. Yeah, I've been reading about that. Yeah, there's some like weird mod that you can do to the 5150s that kind of open it up a little bit. Charlie's asking, what are people's thoughts on the Positive Grid Spark? I keep hearing loads about it, but I've never tried it in person. Same kind of thing with that. Like it's one of those things, just like with the Quad Cortex. There are so many videos about it, so many good videos about it, but it's so hard to just have some experience with it, you know? Uh, I mean, I hear good things, but I don't really need a desktop amplifier, so to speak. Uh, if there is a desktop amplifier that I would probably gravitate towards more than the Spark, I have had actual experience with the Yamaha THR amplifiers. Those things, whoa. That I played one at the LA Amp Show a couple years ago, and it was one of the first ones that had a Line 6 wireless built in. So I standing maybe about 5 feet away from this little Yamaha tabletop amp, and the sound filled the room without like farting out and without the sound sort of caving in the speakers, as it were. So I really liked that. And that would probably be, if I needed a desktop amplifier, that would be the thing that I would go towards first rather than the Spark. Hi Tom, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I do have the nasal California voice. I'm actually suffering from some seasonal allergies right now, so it's a little even more nasally than ever, bro. You know, there you go. Yeah, Terry's got no major companies are willing to give non-popular YouTubers products to demo test. It's an unfortunate reality of what we do. So many people excuse me, so many people so many people start YouTube channels and they just kind of take off for just random reasons. And when you get a certain number of followers, you're just always going to get people who want to take advantage of that following. And I totally get it. I work in marketing. This is marketing, and I've worked in marketing before. So it's an unfortunate reality, but I'm not Obviously it's kind of, it sucks, but hey, what I don't get, it's like maybe I'll get somewhere down the road. And if I don't get it, then maybe something better will come along. You have to kind of look at the thing. You have to look at everything as glass half full, really. Thomas asking, any thoughts about Ignator amps? Not enough experience with them to actually say much. Heard them, thought they sounded pretty good, but didn't really get a chance to play them. But it looks like Bruce is going to be doing something new. He's posted some teasers on his Facebook, so it'll be great to see what he's up to next. Philip is saying EVH EL34 Blue channel gets a bad rep since metal heads are like, oh, it can't chug. It's well documented the channel was intended to be more like a JCM 800. It sounds good, but you can mod it. Yes. Actually, I think it is the EL34 that's like one that a lot of people are modding right now. Hey, people do what you can. There's something to do whatever you want tonally out there, people. And it's just a matter of, are you willing to go to the lengths that you need to go to in order to find it? For me personally, I like living too much to deal with that much amount of live electricity. Well, everybody, we've gone past the hour mark, so we are going to call it a night. But I just want to sum this all up by first off saying thank you to all of you for watching this little show tonight. As I said, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about you guys, and I want to learn more. So keep an eye on the community tab for some polls coming up over the course of the next few weeks. Maybe what you guys are able to do for me through those polls will help me make some videos that I'll have fun making and that I'll enjoy. And then hopefully you guys will get some enjoyment out of them as well. If you haven't done so, please do give this a thumbs up. Please do subscribe, ring the notification bell. Stompbox SmackDown returns this weekend with a high gain death match between the Rev G3 and G4 distortion pedals. This is going to be a lot of fun. I want to thank you all for joining. Charlie, thanks for joining in, man. That's a big time difference. So go sign off and go sleep. We'll talk very soon. But to all of you for joining in, thank you so much. I will see you all in a couple weeks. Remember, every first and third Thursday now, same bat time, same bat channel right here for SPJ Live. I love you all. I wish you all great tone, good health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. See you in a couple weeks. God bless. And don't do anything I wouldn't do.